Hello and welcome to Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business, brought to you by MegaPixx Media. Joining me today is Don Ludlow, who is Vice President, Small Business Partnerships and Strategy with RBC. Thanks, Don, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Mario. Great to be here.
Well, recently, RBC put out a new survey regarding small business in Canada. One of the interesting aspects I'd like you to touch base on is the growing demand for digital payment and engagement options out there in the market. Is this something that small businesses have to be aware of and take hold in, as we go forward into the future?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this was certainly a trend that we saw growing before the pandemic, but one way to think about it is the pandemic really accelerated the need and demand for digital payments and e-commerce solutions. And in fact, our research really shows that even after the pandemic, Canadians say that they're really looking forward to these e-commerce and quick and easy payment solutions to continue. So business owners definitely need to invest and develop these tools and capabilities. First of all, because it's a great customer experience, but also it really helps the business.
And it's also necessary, is it not, for businesses of all sizes?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I think the point would perhaps be that prior to the pandemic, some business owners were maybe lagging the market and investing in this space. And of course, what we've seen then is in the small business space, that need has really grown. So I think it's important for small business owners in particular to give thought to investing in this space.
The other aspect that I found really intriguing about the survey and is the fact that people are, I guess, want to associate and go to businesses that prioritize employee wellness and overall safety, overall health and safety. Can you talk a little bit about that and the growing importance of both those two areas for a business and for a business's success?
Absolutely. That's something that really stood out in our survey is that, consumers, want companies to, be focused on well-being and the health and safety of their employees, but also their customers and clients. And in fact, almost 80% of Canadians want things like curbside pickup, which has really become, quite popular during the pandemic, to carry on because of the health and safety aspects of it. So, again, this is something that we see not going away even as we exit the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of funny because I've been seeing more and more lately, a lot of businesses, and there is a campaign out there too about businesses saying that they're not going to ask for vaccination passports and stuff like that. And there's been a bit of a backlash to those businesses, and I can understand that, I guess, as we move forward in this environment. Does that surprise you that that even now that we're seeing stuff like that still taking place?
Well, our research didn't touch on vaccine passports in particular. It would stand out loud and clear that there's, a high amount of vigilance amongst consumers on health and safety issues. And so, I think that would be applied to all businesses, and especially small businesses, local retailer shops, restaurants, that kind of thing. I mean, that is top of mind for people right now.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about some of the consumer behaviors that we're seeing out there. A couple of trends that we've noticed over the last few years, but more so, I think, here in the last year and a half or so with the pandemic. Number one is shop local, buy local, and number two is consumers kind of going to companies that are socially conscious. How important are those two trends for small businesses these days?
That's huge. In fact, that's one of the biggest trends that came out of our survey was the rise of the, you call it the local and socially conscious consumer. As an example, the vast majority of Canadians and 82% of Albertans say they'll continue to spend more money at local stores, even in the pandemic. So, using purchasing power not just to get the great goods and services that you want, but to have an impact in the way you spend on things that you think are important, is definitely here to stay. And that flows into people wanting to spend not just locally, but on Black and Indigenous and people of color owned businesses, as well as businesses operated by members of the LGBT 2+ community. So people want to support businesses that are important to them.
Yeah, exactly. Last thing I wanted to ask you about, Don, is it's been a tough time, obviously, for small businesses over the past year and a half. Many of them closed their doors, obviously, because they couldn't deal with the pretty dire economic challenges that they were faced with. What's your take on entrepreneurship in general? Moving on from the pandemic, are people less likely going, to embark on the entrepreneurial journey because of a lot of the challenges and the chaos that they've seen in the past year and a half?
Yeah, Mario, I think it's really interesting and encouraging to see in the survey that, in fact, the entrepreneurial spirit, remains quite strong. And in fact, I think some 85% of small business owners are optimistic about the future. The vast majority feel that they're going to be able to continue to, respond and adjust to the challenges ahead. And I think that's because the majority of them feel that they've adapted and changed and even transformed through the pandemic. And so that makes them healthier and more competitive. And that's in no way to downplay the real challenges that business owners face. Running a business and being a business owner is tough at the best of times. Yeah. But I think business owners have shown a tremendous amount of resilience through the pandemic, and there's still a great deal of optimism out there. And I think there's things that we've learned, and that I think we can sort of offer as advice. Continue to invest in e-commerce and digital payment solutions. Plan for contingencies so that you always have a degree of financial flexibility, and stay focused on the local market and the local community, because people want to support you.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot, Don, for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Mario. It's been a pleasure.
All right, super. That was Don Ludlow, who is Vice President of Small Business Partnerships and Strategy with RBC. This has been Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business, brought to you by MegaPixx Media. Thanks for joining us.